When is the Q&A coming? Now that's a wonderful question. Hey guys, it's Jeffrey and I'm finally here with my 2021 Breakthrough Junior Challenge Q&A video. I'm sorry it came out pretty late. I've been pretty busy, but hopefully it came out with just enough time for you to answer some of your questions or gain some more valuable insight before you submit your video. So thank you guys for giving me all your questions. It's really nice when people provide me content for my video that I don't have to think of myself. And I have my computer here where I have tried to categorize each question so that it's easier to look up any questions that you might have. So first we're gonna start with scripting. So Gautam says, how simple can the topics be? You did such a complex topic that I have very little knowledge of. Thank you. So this is a good question. On the Breakthrough Junior website, there is a category called Judging. And if you click on the category, it provides you with the 4 criteria that the challenge grades your video on. So that would be engagement, illumination, creativity, and finally difficulty. So the difficulty metric basically gives you more points the more difficult that your topic is. So if you chose a topic that's typically covered in advanced high school or early college, you'll be scored more than a topic that's usually explained in like middle school or in elementary school. But I think it's also important that you walk the line of a topic that is difficult and understandable at the same time. You don't want to go with a topic that is way too hard where no one who watches it is going to understand, especially because the video is only going to be 3 minutes or less. Or it's too easy and the audience feels unsatisfied with the video. I think that the most important metric is that it should be a topic that you're very interested in or something that you are passionate about. It is much easier to be more engaging if you actually care about the topic. And also, even if you have a topic that you're very engaged with, but it's not necessarily super difficult, looking at similar topics that are maybe branches or offshoots of your original topic can be helpful as well. When I competed in 2019, my original topic was actually gravitational waves, but I felt that I wanted to do a topic that was a little bit less talked about, so I ended up going with neutrino astronomy. Nada asks, if I covered a concept that other previous students have covered in past years, but in my own way, would it be acceptable, or is it preferable to explain something new? I think it's totally great to explain a topic that you're passionate about, even if other people have explained that same topic before. There are only like a certain amount of scientific topics or mathematical topics that you can explain in roughly 3 minutes or less. Basically, if you put your own spin on it and if the video is your own work, then it should work perfectly. It gets a little bit more complicated if you're doing a topic that someone has won with. I don't know if I would do that, but if it's a topic that other people have done, even if it's been like in a finalist or semi-finalists, I think it's like fair game. It's really, if you're interested in a topic, you should go pursue it. That's what really makes it the challenge fun. Shivan asks, how many hours did it take for me to create my video from start to end? So in 2019, I spent roughly 120 to 130 hours on my Breakthrough Junior Challenge submission, give or take, beginning with finding my topic and ending with uploading my video to my YouTube channel. I know 120 hours might sound like a lot of time, it kind of is, but a lot of that time was spent in 3D animation, 2D animation, and motion graphics, which inherently takes up a lot of time and might be something that you actually don't need to put in your video. A lot of people don't need a lot of editing or special effects in their videos. That's just the route I took. Also, a lot of the time that I spent on my video actually didn't even make it into the final product. I spent a lot of time experimenting with different styles of animation or different ways of explaining the topic, and I was able to go from that to the current video that you can see today. So really, I think that the right amount of time for you to spend on your video is just the amount of time it takes for the video to be as good as you think it should be. Stranger Danger asks, hey, any advice for putting together all the information in scripting? Thank you. Oh, so this is a good question that could actually warrant its own video because it's applicable to not just the Breakthrough Junior Challenge, but to filmmaking and even writing in general. So if I had any advice, I would say to kind of structure your video like you're structuring an essay, and that you're going to break your video up into different chunks. I think it's a lot easier to put something together if you break it down into components rather than having the whole 3 minutes as one piece, because that can be a little overwhelming. Now this question nicely leads into the next question by a new life who says, I'm working on my video, but I'm having quite some trouble cutting down my script so that it won't go over 3 minutes. I need some more advice on how to cut it down more. So this video did come out late, so you might not be in the scripting phase, you might be in the editing or even like final checking phase. But for future contestants, or if you have any other videos you want to make in the future, I would say that there is a couple different points in which you can actually trim down your video. So the first one would be scripting. So you're gonna write your script, and it's probably gonna be really long or have a lot of information that you're not actually going to include in the final product. And once you're scripting and researching your video for the first time, you're gonna find information that's very important and information that's not as important. And so you're gonna have a good idea of what you have to include in your video and what might just be a bonus if you have enough time. I definitely recommend recording yourself, just reading the script at a good pace so you know that your video is not going to go way over the time. I would shoot for around 2 minutes and 50 seconds or 2 minutes 55 just so you get an extra few seconds of wiggle room. So that's what you can do while you're scripting, while you're filming your videos. When I filmed my video, I had my script memorized at the time, but I still found ways to improvise on the fly. And that helped cut down the video because while I was improvising, sometimes I would naturally make the sentences shorter and not as long as they would have been, which was useful for cutting down the video. And finally, in the edit, it's pretty self-explanatory. You can cut your video at certain parts and like rearrange things to make it easier or more understandable or shorter. So those are the 3 points that you can kind of like trim your video down. I'd say the most important part is just when you're initially writing the script to make sure it's as concise as possible. That saves you a lot of trouble in the end. Yoda asks, what were new opportunities that you got after winning the challenge? So I was really grateful and very surprised when I won the Breakthrough Junior Challenge. And it came with a lot of opportunities that I don't think I would have been able to have if I hadn't won. So the most obvious being the $250,000 scholarship. Winning the challenge also allowed me to apply to colleges that I didn't really consider applying to before, and gave me a chance to see where my educational career could go. I also was able to, outside of college, get more opportunities. For instance, I've been working at an educational internship at Tract, which is a educational company, and I've been producing videos for them which teach kids about science and specifically astrophysics, which is something that I'm interested in. And the best opportunity really was just getting to meet all these amazing people and then getting to brag to my friends that I finally did something smart. Akshat asks, hey Jeffrey, how did you convince yourself that the peer-to-peer review would be fair? Do you have any idea as to what exactly those mathematical algorithms prevent peers from wrongly marking your video? So that's a good question. I think he's referring to the peer-to-peer review part of the challenge, which is right after you submit your video, there's a period of a couple days where you're supposed to grade other people's videos and those people grade yours, and eventually the top 75 films will move on to the first or the second stage of judging, which is judged by the evaluation panel, and then it goes on from there. I think it's perfectly normal and very natural to be a little suspicious of the fact that, hey, maybe people can like judge my video harshly because they want to like increase their odds while decreasing my odds of doing well in the competition. And it's very natural to feel that way. I felt exactly the same way when I submitted my video. But the only thing I can say is that from my experience in the Breakthrough Junior Challenge, I trust that the competition has put together a good system to make sure that this doesn't happen. At least 5 people will grade your video, and I'm sure there's ways that outliers will be taken care of and wouldn't count negatively against you. And also just the fact that a lot of the videos that I saw and the finalists, semi-finalists over the years have all been very good films that I feel like deserve to be there. I think for me that decreases the likelihood that like foul play is going on. I can only really say to trust the process. I think that the Breakthrough Junior Challenge does a good job of maintaining integrity among the competition. A lot of people who are competing because they love science and film, and acting unfairly against people is like not cool. So I think most people wouldn't do that. You really just have to trust the process. Abhinav asks, I'm actually changing schools this year and I have left my old school. I'm waiting for one of the schools I applied to accept my application, and it won't happen before the 25th of June, which is when the submission deadline is. What should I do? Also, if you don't know, could you tell me how to contact the officials to ask the above question? So I would go with the old school because that's most likely going to have the teachers that you were closest to and can say the most about you if you happen to move on in the competition. But if you want to contact the Breakthrough Junior Challenge, you can go to the Breakthrough Junior Challenge website, the FAQ section, and at the very bottom there's a question that says, whom do I contact for other questions I have? And the answer would be challenge@breakthroughjuniorchallenge.org. I've used that email a couple times when I submitted, and they were always very polite and pretty quick to respond back to me. So there's that information for you. And then Vishu asks, and this is a great question, my real question is, who the hell needs $250K for college? I've asked myself that many times, and Vishu, it's a question that people have asked Joe Biden, Betsy DeVos, the College Board, and all I can say, man, college is really expensive and it's kind of rough in America right now, you know? It's rough to get an education without going into debt. Payal asks, my question is it necessary to be there in the whole video, or can I just be there for a quick time and then my editing will be shown for the rest of the film? I recommend that you show your face at least like a good part of your video. Having your face there makes it a lot easier to form that connection with the audience, which will make them more interested in what's going on. Of course, there are definitely going to be points where you're going to have other like videos or animations or graphics that will cover the screen, and that's a good thing. I feel like if people saw my face for 3 minutes straight, they would burst into flames, so I had like conveniently placed animation at some points. But having your face there in general just, in my opinion, makes the video better. I think all the winners in the past have had their faces in their videos for at least a good chunk of the time. It just makes it more exciting to watch and allows the audience to like almost get to know you better while you're explaining this topic. Gurjeet asks, can I use short videos of spacewalks in my film while giving credits? Yes, you definitely can. Make sure to use films that are non-copyright or even better in the public domain. And so you can put those videos inside your film and they won't get like copyright struck or anything. Citing sources is definitely very important, and you're gonna need to use that outside of the challenge too. So you just put the link down in your description or maybe at the credits at the end of your film, and that should take care of that. Gurjeet also asks, please tell us what is needed in the verification process. So depending on how far you make it in the competition, you may be asked to verify some info. What they're basically going to ask for is some sources that you use to learn about this topic. For instance, what articles you read or videos or other things. So it'll be good for you to keep track of that. So you can put that there. And also they're going to ask for any assets that you use that weren't yours. For instance, images, music, video, anything that you haven't created. It's just good practice in general to have at least like a URL or a link of stuff that you use that you didn't create, so you can properly cite the sources and give credit where credit is due. When I created my submission in 2019, all the assets like the 3D animation and 2D animation was created by me, but the music wasn't created by me. I had bought the right to use that off of a website for around $20, so I just placed that inside the verification process, and it ended up being okay. Ubaid asks, where do I have to upload my video? You're gonna upload your video to youtube.com. And once you're done doing that, you're gonna have a link. You're gonna put the link inside the submission form along with the rest of the questions that you're supposed to answer. And once you're satisfied with your product, you're gonna send it in and boom, you're gonna be done with the Breakthrough Junior Challenge 2021. So thank you guys again for sending me your questions. They were very nice, and I hope that my answers were good enough. I might also type some answers in the comments if there are any future questions that you guys have or anything that I feel like I should explain a little bit better. Before I leave, I also wanted to give you guys a couple tips that I think will be helpful, especially in the last, 4 days of the 2021 Breakthrough Junior Challenge. Number one is make sure you watch your video before you submit it. This may seem obvious. I know some people in the past, me included, who would just finish their video and be like, oh, thank God, I never want to watch this again, and I'll just send it in without watching it. It's good to watch a video one last time just to make sure that everything is where it should be. And even better, you should have other people watch it. You've seen your video multiple times, I'm guessing, while you're editing and while you're filming. And so having a fresh pair of eyes look at it could just give you a lot better perspective and allow you to make changes that you wouldn't have realized otherwise. This is called quality control, and it's very important. The second tip that I would give is just as important, and it's spelling. I would not say that I'm a great speller. If spell check wasn't invented, I would be in serious trouble. But I do remember both years when I submitted it in 2018 and 2019, exporting the video like an hour to 2 hours before the deadline and thinking, okay, thank God it's over, watching it and realizing that I spelled the word "the" wrong. That's pretty embarrassing. So don't let yourself be in the situation where you created something that you're super proud of only to realize that you made a silly mistake. Thoroughly check what you've done. If you're concerned about spelling, as I am always concerned about spelling, if you're animating or editing, copy and paste the words that you have into like Google Drive or something. It'll spell check it automatically, and then you can copy paste it back just so you can make sure that the words are all spelled correctly and you're not ending up in a situation where you're running around like you're a chicken with its head cut off, wondering why you can't spell at a basic 3rd grade level. Okay, third, I would watch the video on multiple devices once you've exported it. So I would watch the video on your phone, on your computer, and if you have an ability to do so, like on a projector or on a TV, people are going to be watching your videos on different devices, not only like phones or computers. So you want to make sure that the video is like good across all platforms, and that can really help you make sure that your audio is crystal clear and that people understand what you're saying. My fourth tip is to get some sleep. That's just in general. I shouldn't be saying that. And finally, this is a tip for after the Breakthrough Junior Challenge. So after you submit your video this year, which will be on June 25th, the challenge at that moment is going to be over. Even if you end up winning, or no matter how you do in the next couple weeks, the challenge is over at that moment. It's important to remember that you tried your best on this video. You've done something that you didn't have to do. You did something extra beyond just like traditional school, and you have really like tried and put yourself out there and explained this difficult topic, and that's commendable, and you should be proud of yourself for doing that. And also, really, there isn't anything else you can do once you've finished your video. You're going to grade a couple people's videos in the peer-to-peer review section, and then you're going to wait a couple weeks and see what happens. And maybe you make it, and maybe you don't. I remember in 2018, I was pretty upset that I didn't make it into the top 30. I was really hoping that I would. But me not making it into the top 30 or top 15 my first year really motivated me to participate again in 2019. And I learned a whole bunch of skills that I wouldn't have known if I hadn't even participated in the first place. So all I can say is that once you finish your video, once you upload it to the internet, be proud of what you've done and try to, focus on different things. There's more to life than just the Breakthrough Junior Challenge. There's sleep, for example. Sleeping is very fun. There's friends, there's family, there's other passions that you can follow, other activities. You can maybe even pursue film or science outside of the channel. I don't know. Get the video done to the best of your ability and then send it off and take a break. We all deserve a little bit of rest and a little bit of self-care, especially in these very wild and turbulent days. Anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I would one day like to get some sweet YouTuber money. I have also created other videos on my channel that are not necessarily Breakthrough Junior related, but I think are pretty funny, and so hopefully you guys enjoy it if you choose to watch those videos. Anyways, that'll be it. This is Jeffrey, and I'll see you guys next time.